I got here. So, Joe Rogan last July signed a 1-year deal with the UFC. It is obviously September, so he probably signed a new deal, which is good for the good for MMA, good for the UFC. But he is slowly moving towards stopping the UFC. He only does North American pay-per-views now. We don't see him as much. He does his podcast a lot. He loves doing the Fight Companion. I'm a big fan of his podcast. Big fan of, obviously, the Fight Companion. Joe has been an inspiration to people like me, to millions and millions of MMA fans. He was one of the first guys that brought me to MMA as far as liking it. He was always the guy I would watch on YouTube talk about fights. And then obviously when the podcast came around, he started talking about more fights, and then the Fight Companion. So Joe's a huge part of the UFC. You would think he's just a commentator, but no, he's more than that. He's a personality. Talks good about the UFC. He's very intellectual and very speaks really well about MMA and MMA fighters. And he's the perfect hype man. And it's going to be next to impossible to replace him when he does leave. So I'm just kind of throwing this question out, like what's next for him, what's plans for him. I think he maybe has a year or two left. I can see him end of like 2018 or something, being done with everything with the UFC, because his podcast is bigger than ever. He's got money making from stand-up, so like it's not that he needs the UFC, he just loves doing it because he's a big fan of MMA. It'll be a huge loss when he leaves. I don't know who you would replace him with. Chael Sonnen, there's a lot of talks of that, but I don't think Dana would ever go for that. Morrell or Boss is a good replacement. I don't like that WWE guy they brought in. Forget his name. Brian Stan has retired. So there's guys like Kenny Florian, Dominic Cruz is pretty good. John Anik's not bad. DC's not bad. But him and Goldie worked together for so long, and Goldie left, and now he's slowly going to leave. It's going to be a different time. The Zuffa era is over. The Fertitta era is over. Dana's going to be here for a few more years. It's going to be an interesting time for the UFC in the next, few years. A lot of new faces are going to be coming around. So we'll have to see. But I think Joe doesn't have much time left in the UFC. His podcast is phenomenal. It's bigger than ever, so we'll have to see. And give me your guys' opinion on what you think Joe's future's like, and maybe talk about how great he is. And I'm a big fan of him, and he's pound for pound the best. So yeah, bye guy.